Just a minute, I have to share the screen. Just a minute. Okay, welcome back to our chapter on water absorption. We're studying the topic mechanism of water absorption, and in the very previous lecture, we discussed about the difference between active method of water absorption and passive method of water absorption. When there is a need of an expenditure of metabolic energy, the method is called as active method. It happens because when the movement is against the concentration gradient, and when the movement is along the concentration gradient, there is usually no need of expenditure of metabolic energy, and that method is called as passive method that we discussed. Active method is also called as water push method, whereas passive method is called as water pull method. And we also studied that when the roots are directly involved in the process of water absorption, the method is called as active method of water absorption. And when the forces responsible for water absorption are set up in the cells other than that of the root cells, then the method is called as passive method, because roots remain passive in the process and the forces set up in the shoot system or aerial parts of the plant body that we discussed. So we have to start with the next method, and that is the passive method of water absorption. What happens, you see, in rapidly transpiring and well-watered plants, where the rate of transpiration is high and plants are growing in well-watered condition, the water is supposed to be absorbed by passive method. That is, here, the forces responsible for water absorption are set up in the cells other than that of the root cells. The forces set up in the aerial system, the forces set up in the leaves, in the mesophyll cells of the leaves. And here the phenomena like osmosis, which we studied in osmotic method of water absorption, or the phenomena or the phenomenon like your respiration, which is responsible for non-osmotic method of water absorption, are not supposed to be responsible for mechanism of water absorption, but here it is believed that the passive method of water absorption takes place due to another important physiological phenomenon, and it is known as transpiration. Now, what is transpiration? And that we are going to study later in much detail. One chapter we're going to study on transpiration, but at this stage you just remember that transpiration means the loss of water in the form of water vapors from the aerial parts of the plant body, mainly from the leaves through the stomata. There is a loss of water in the form of water vapors, and that is called as transpiration. Now, what happens due to transpiration, due to constant transpiration from the aerial surfaces of the plant body? There develops a sort of tension, there develops a sort of pull due to loss of water. That is, water deficit condition develops there. DPD, diffusion pressure deficit of mesophyll cells of leaves increases, or osmotic pressure of the mesophyll cells of the leaves increases due to loss of water from the mesophyll cells of the leaves. Due to continuous loss of water, there develops a tension, there develops water deficit, and it has to be minimized. The tension has to be minimized. So what happens in the course, there is a continuous xylem channel, or there is a continuous water channel from mesophyll cells up to the root cells, because mesophyll cells of the leaves are directly connected with the xylem cells of the leaves, and the xylem of leaves is connected with the xylem of root via the xylem of the stem. So there is a continuous pipeline type structure. There is a continuous pipeline type structure from the tip of the plant body to the tip of the root system. You get? You get? Did you get it? So this continuous channel, which exists in the form of water channel inside the xylem channel, is called as xylem channel or water channel or water canal. That is the continuous pipeline type structure. Continuous pipe, xylem pipes are there, And within that pipe, there is a continuous water column from the tip of the plant to the root system. So whatever tension that develops due to transpiration, which is called as transpiration tension or transpiration pull due to water deficit condition, due to increase in DPD, that tension is transmitted in downward direction through this xylem channel, so that the entire water column is lifted in upward direction to maintain continuous water supply. So as far as there is transpiration occurring from the aerial surfaces, there is continuous movement of water, and in the course there is continuous absorption of water from the soil by this method. And therefore here it is said that water is absorbed through the roots and not by the roots. Did you get it? Water is said to be absorbed through the roots and not by the roots, because here roots are not actively involved in the process of water absorption. Shoot system is involved, mesophyll cells are involved, aerial parts of the plant body are involved directly in the process of water absorption because of transpiration. Here roots are just playing or acting as a pathway or path for the movement of water, through which water can go toward the upper side or upper parts of the plant body. So they are acting as just pathway. So it is said that roots, water absorption is said to be absorbed only through the roots and not by the roots, and therefore the process is passive. Roots are remaining passive in the process. Shoot system or aerial parts of the plant body is actively involved in the process of water absorption due to transpiration. And this method therefore is called as water pull method, because the entire water column is pulled upward in this manner due to transpiration. Now there are certain merits of this theory or this method of water absorption, that is passive water absorption. The first point is that the rate of water absorption and the rate of transpiration is approximately equal. So this suggests that there is a close correlation between the two processes, and passive method of water absorption takes place due to transpiration. This theory critically satisfies the concept of movement against the concentration gradient. Now in osmotic method we studied that there is a drawback of the theory such that when water moves from pericycle into xylem, there is such a drawback because the cell shape of xylem is already dilute, very dilute. Xylem vessels are water conducting channels, so plenty of water is there. So this theory critically satisfies that tension, or transpiration pull is so big that it lifts the entire water column in upward direction. So there is no question of the movement against the concentration gradient. And as it is a physical process, simple physical process, there is no question of involvement of expenditure of metabolic energy. Metabolic energy for performing this function of water absorption is not required by the plant. It's a simple physical process. Development of transpiration pull or tension is a physical, that pressure is physical pressure due to which water column is lifted. So there is no need of metabolic energy, and as energy is not required in this process, the process is called as passive method. As roots are not directly involved in the process is called as passive method of water absorption. The rate of water absorption by this method, passive method, is much more faster than the active method of water absorption by osmotic reasons or by non-osmotic reasons. So that is one more merit of this theory. And it is also observed that when you keep the cut ends of the stem, when the cut ends of the stem are dipped in a beaker containing water, then it starts absorbing water, and the process is continuous for some time. So here you can easily see that despite of roots, there is movement of water in upward direction. Stem can absorb water. So this suggests that there is no need of roots for water absorption, and it is simply because of transpiration which is occurring at the aerial surface, water is absorbed. So this also suggests that this is the passive method of water absorption, which simply takes place due to transpiration. You can see here in this figure photocortis is given. You see, continuous transpiration, loss of water from the aerial parts, from the leaves of the plant body. Water evaporates from the leaf surface due to sunlight, and through this channel, xylem channel or water channel, as far as water is going up, then the entire water column is lifted, and in that process, water is continuously absorbed by the roots from the soil. And this method is called as passive method of water absorption. Okay, so we have discussed about the mechanism of water absorption: active method, passive method. Active of two types, osmotic and non-osmotic method of water absorption, and passive method of water absorption just now. Now, what are the factors that affect the rate of water absorption? Which are the factors that either increases the process of water absorption or decreases the process of water absorption? There are two types of factors: the external factors, as you know, and the internal factors. The external factors are the factors which are working outside the plant body, and they are responsible for either increasing the process of water absorption or decreasing the process of water absorption. And these factors are several environmental factors like available soil water, that is availability of soil water. Then there is a concentration of soil solution. Then another factor is soil aeration. And then one more factor is soil temperature. So these are some of the external factors which affect the process of water absorption in plant positively or negatively. Then we have to consider some internal factors, that is the factors which are working inside the plant body, such as transpiration. Just now we have seen this. Then there is one more factor, that is absorbing root system is there. Then the plant metabolism is also considered as one of the internal factors which affect the process of water absorption. External factors: available soil water, concentration of soil solution, soil aeration, and soil temperature. And the internal factors include transpiration, absorbing root system, and metabolism. Now we have to discuss them one by one, those factors one by one. We'll see the external factors first. We'll take them one by one. We'll take those one by one. So see, first external factors. First factor is available soil water, availability of soil water. You know, when sufficient amount of water is present in the soil, then plants show normal rate of water absorption. The rate of water absorption is normal. But if the water content of the soil decreases, it is less. If the water content of the soil decreases, then the rate of water absorption also decreases. If there is less water, then there is less water absorption due to decrease in the rate of water absorption. This is due to physical dryness of the soil. It is said that soil is physically dry. There is a very less amount of water in the soil, and therefore the rate of water absorption decreases. If there is more amount of water, if the water content of the soil increases to such an extent that it is beyond the water holding capacity of the soil, it is, you see, when the water content is beyond the water holding capacity of the soil, in that case also, again, the rate of water absorption decreases, not increase. It will again decrease. And such a condition is called as physiological dryness of the soil. If there is less water, when the rate decrease, the condition is called as physical dryness of the soil. But if plenty of water is available, but even in that case, rate decreases because it is beyond the water holding capacity of the soil, then that situation, that condition is called as physiological dryness of the soil. So this is the first factor, how it affects the rate of water absorption. If normal water, normal rate. If less amount, then rate decreases. If more amount, in that case also the rate of water absorption decreases. The next factor is concentration of soil solution. What is the concentration of soil solution? That we have studied in osmotic method of water absorption. The soil solution is separated from cell solution or cell sap. Then there is movement from outside solution to inside solution because the soil solution is comparatively dilute as compared to cell solution. The soil solution or soil sap has more amount of water and less amount of solute. Cell solution has less amount of water and more amount of solute. So by endosmosis process, water enters inside the cell sap. So that is the normal situation. But see what happens if the soil becomes concentrated, if the mineral salts dissolved in soil increase, and if it becomes, the soil solution becomes concentrated, and if the concentration reaches maximum than that of cell solution, what will happen? Instead of endosmosis, exosmosis will also take place. So in this situation, usually rate decreases. And this is the reason why roots fail to grow in saline soils, in alkaline soil, where the concentration of salts in the soil are larger. The soil becomes alkaline, the soil becomes saline, and therefore its concentration becomes, in that case, is usually more than the concentration of cell sap. So water, instead of going inside the soil, inside the cell, whatever water is present inside the cell, it will come outside by exosmosis process, and this is usually observed in saline soil or alkaline soil. So such a soils, though there is plenty of water in such a saline soil or alkaline soil, water cannot be absorbed by plant, and this condition is called as physiological dryness of the soil. So this is another factor which affect in that case. The next factor, external factor, is soil aeration. It is found that plants absorb water normally if the soils are well aerated than in poorly aerated soil. If sufficient air is there, sufficient oxygen is there, then there is normal rate of water absorption. But if the oxygen content of the soil is less, plants fail to grow in such a situation because of poor aeration, because of anaerobic respiration, and because of decreased air content. This is usually found in waterlogged soil or flooded areas where there is plenty of water, but there is less oxygen, there is anaerobic conditions, and therefore the rate of water absorption decreases in such a condition. Soil aeration has to be very good for plants to absorb water. The next factor is soil temperature. It is found that a temperature range of 20 to 30 degrees Celsius is suitable for normal rate of water absorption. So this is the normal rate, 20 to 30 degrees Celsius of soil temperature. It may be up to 35, 20 to 35, but 20 to 30 is ideal situation of soil temperature. If this is the soil temperature, then there will be normal rate of water absorption. If the temperature decreases below 20 degrees Celsius, the rate of water absorption will decrease. When the temperature will increase about 30 degrees Celsius, in that case also, the rate of water absorption will decrease. More temperature means decrease in the rate of water absorption. What will happen when the temperature increases? When the temperature will increase, there is one phenomenon known as denaturation of enzymes. The enzymes will lose their physical and chemical structure. There will be collapse in the properties of enzymes, especially the enzymes which are responsible for the formation of root hairs. So these enzymes will become denaturized, and therefore that more temperature will not be suitable for water absorption, and the rate of water absorption will ultimately get reduced. If the temperature is less than 20 degrees Celsius, in that case also, the rate of water absorption decreases. And if the temperature is very, very less, freezing temperature, 0 degrees Celsius, at that temperature, the process of water absorption totally stops, because at very low temperature, there is an increase in the viscosity of water as well as the viscosity of protoplasm, and there is decrease in the permeability of cell membrane. Cell membrane or plasma membrane becomes resistant. It is not permeable for the entry of water. So there will be no osmosis. There will be no endosmosis. So either more temperature or less temperature, both are harmful for water absorption. And this is the normal range, 20 to 30 degrees Celsius of soil temperature is suitable for water absorption to take place. Internal factors. The first important internal factor, just now we have discussed in passive method of water absorption, that the rate of transpiration is directly proportional to the rate of water absorption, passive water absorption, normal rate. That means more the transpiration, more will be the rate of water absorption, and less transpiration, there will be a decrease in the rate of water absorption, especially passive method of water absorption, which is the main or chief method of water absorption in plant body. So this factor is having direct correlationship with the process of water absorption in plants. Another internal factor is absorbing root system. We have studied that root hairs are mainly responsible for the process of water absorption, and these root hairs account for the process of water absorption. That means when the number of root hairs are many, when the number of root hairs are maximum, the rate of water absorption will also be maximized. It will be more. If the number of root hairs in the root are less, then there will be less water absorption. And it is found that many more root hairs develop in moist soil. And in dry soil, the number of root hairs are less. So there is a sort of close relationship between the development of root hairs and the availability of water inside the soil. So this is another internal factor affecting the process. One more factor is metabolism. Now again, this factor is closely related to the process of water absorption, or it is directly linked with the process of water absorption. That means if the water absorption process is normal, there will be normal metabolism in the plant. If the metabolism is disturbed, the process of water absorption will also get disturbed. We have studied this in non-osmotic water absorption, which is linked with the respiration, when in the process in which energy is released and that energy is utilized for the process of water absorption. And then respiration is a type of metabolism. So these two processes, metabolism of the plant and water absorption, are closely related with each other. So these are some of the references. Okay. I will stop now sharing. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so we have finished the mechanism of water absorption, active and passive method, and the factors, external factors and internal factors which affect the process of water absorption. Now, I am eager to know if there are any query, question from your side. I will be very happy to answer those if there are any questions, any queries, any difficulty. Yes, you can unmute. No question. You can also write in the chat box. Please feel free to ask question. You can ask any question related to this process of water absorption. No question. So how do I come to know whether you have understood this or not? If there are no questions, then it will have two meanings, that you have understood nothing. That is the first. And the second will be you have understood everything. Okay. So whatever portion we have covered up till now, we are going to have a test, objective type test on that. I will inform it about. I will inform about it in our WhatsApp group. So are you ready for the test?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So shall I close the meeting?
Sir, xylem flow एकदा explain.
हा बोला काय? झायलमचं काय? Hello? Who's that? Was that Pimpre? What is your question? Xylem channel Xylem channel exists from the tip of the plant to the root system. Yes, xylem flow. The xylem channel, there is a pipeline type structure existing from the tip of the plant body to the root system. Xylem of leaves or xylem of branches, xylem of flowers, fruits, all these are connected with the xylem of root system through the xylem of the stem. So there is a continuous pipeline. Xylem. Xylem are water conducting tissues in which water is present. Now, how that water maintains its continuity, how there is a continuous water column, that we are going to study in much detail in another chapter later on. That chapter is called as ascent of sap, upward movement of water from roots to the tip of the plant body, which mainly takes place through the xylem vessel. One specific theory is there which is related to this process of passive method of water absorption that we are going to study in much detail. But at this stage, you just have to understand that there is a continuous xylem channel from the tip to the root system, and inside this xylem there is a continuous water column existing. So when there is continuous loss of water from the aerial surfaces, are you getting? There is a development of tension, transpiration tension or transpiration pull, and that tension or that pressure is of such a big unit is that it lifts up the entire water column from the lower side. So there is, I had shown you that when water there is continuous transpiration, there is continuous loss of water, there is continuous flow of water inside the xylem channel. The water column is lifted in upward direction so that the continuity of water column is maintained. There is continuous flow of water, and in the course of that process, water is continuously absorbed from the roots or from the soil by the roots, or through the roots instead of by the roots. So that is xylem channel, xylem flow. We're going to discuss it more detail in ascent of sap chapter. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. So shall I close the meeting now? No questions there? Okay. Okay. Bye. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Bye.